Alright guys, look, I know we're really tired, but I'm pretty sure this flight's going to board soon, our last lead to Cape Verde, okay? So you guys just take a nice breath, keep an eye out for the boarding call. Andrew, the head honcho's calling me. That's interesting timing. You guys relax and I'll take care of that, and if the flight boards, I'll see you on the plane, okay? You can just deal with this, guys. Andrew, look, not good timing, so this better be big.
Shaun, it's been cancelled.
No, Andrew, I'm literally staring at the screen here at the airport. The flight's not cancelled. It's actually on time, not even delayed. We're going to get there fine. We're a couple of days early anyway, mate, so I don't know what the issue is.
Not the flight. The game has been cancelled.
Say what now?
The game has been cancelled.
No, I did actually hear you, but what the damn hell?
They are playing their first of con qualifier on the same day, so our game is off.
Oh, what a bunch of amateurs. Why did they accept the friendly if they knew they'd be playing someone else at the same time?
I'm not happy about this, Shaun. Those flights cost a lot of money.
Yeah, trust me, I'm annoyed too. Financially for you, but you know, I kind of helped you there with the World Cup second round and all, but my AFC Auckland guys, even the Phoenix guys, they'll be knackered before the next round of the A-League. Oh, what a bunch of knobheads. Okay, well, what do you, I guess we do team bonding while we're over here. Could scout them if we actually decide to play them, which honestly, we probably won't now, but I suppose I can make something out of that.
I can't change the flight now, so come up with something.
Yeah, hey, cheers for letting me know, Andrew, because, yeah, they certainly didn't. I guess I'll tell the guys they're not playing a game.
Enjoy your holiday.
Yeah, okay, I'll talk to you when I get back in NZ, Andrew.
Bye, Shaun.
Okay, bye. Guys, got some news for you.
There's a party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 33 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with AFC Auckland. Coming up today, we've got 2 games in the month of October. 2 teams nearly top of the table, albeit already starting to build a bit of a gap in that position as we take on first up Melbourne City. They are down in 5th, and then in a couple of weeks time it's the New Zealand Derby. We take on the Wellington Phoenix. These days those guys are in 3rd, but they do have a game in hand on the 2nd place Melbourne victory. So if you're looking forward to that, coming up in today's episode as well is me trying to explain why the second friendly in that most recent international window for All Whites, it got cancelled. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But in today's episode, we played a game with both AFC Auckland and the All Whites. If you missed the episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We bet the Brisbane Roar with AFC Auckland, and then off the back of a couple more games with them, we then took on Venezuela with the All Whites in our first friendly since the FIFA World Cup. Came back from 2-0 down to pick up a win there thanks to 4 goals to Chris Wood. Now off the back of that, we were supposed to in a week's time play Cape Verde. Now we need to go and look at Cape Verde's schedule, because I'll show you that friendly did not take place, as hopefully the intro would have been able to show you guys. You can see there nothing off the back of that 5-3 win over Venezuela. You can also see there our friendlies coming up in the next window. Bit of an Asian tour for us as we take on Iraq and the UAE. That Iraq game could be quite interesting as those guys are up in 62nd. But Cape Verde is who we're checking out here, because that was who we were supposed to play a week after that Venezuelan game. A team who these days are just below us on the FIFA World Rankings off the back of that win that we did pick up over Venezuela. They are currently, though, the reason that that friendly did get abandoned is because they are taking part in African nations qualifiers, which they didn't tell us about. So the reason that that friendly got cancelled is because they were playing Seychelles on the same day. So that was a bit of a balls up from them. You would have thought they might have had an idea that was going to take place, but apparently not. So our friendly against those guys got cancelled a couple of days before it was going to take place. We were probably already on the way over there when that happened. They won that one, but then lost to Guinea-Bissau. Hopefully they get bumped in their group, because I really hope those guys just cease to exist now, because that was a complete waste of time. You would have thought they would have known that those games were going to take place, so why even bother accepting our request for a friendly, you silly, silly African nation? But now moving over to AFC Auckland, seeing as nothing's happened with the All Whites, albeit one more thing international-wise that I did forget to mention in yesterday's episode, and might mean this might be the worst signing so far of the save, but Sam Curtis He's played 3 games for Ireland off the back of the last time that we were here at AFC Auckland. That was during that international break. He did get selected off the back of Ireland having that good World Cup campaign. Apparently, they needed him to improve their squad. So Sam Curtis already not a future option for the All Whites, so maybe he's someone we should already look to cash in on come the end of this season, but we'll see how he goes. Obviously a lot better than what we've got in Cullen Elliott, but if he can't play in the future for the All Whites, maybe we just try and shop him out and get some good money for him to go to Saudi Arabia. So Sam Curtis, he might go down as a pretty average signing in terms of the Builder Nation side of this save, but thankfully he is helping us pick up wins here at AFC Auckland. Off the back of it was the Central Coast Mariners game that we did play before the international break. We've just had some friendlies and that's been it. So we've actually done nothing off the back of yesterday's episode in terms of on the pitch, a couple of friendlies to keep our non-international players fresh, and also thankfully the New Zealand guys fresh, seeing as that game against Cape Verde that got binned off. So we had to start players like the Wayne Train in that one against Buckland's Beats, but we are going to play 2 games in the month of October today against 2 teams up near the top of the A-League table. And first up we take on Melbourne City. This is a team we actually didn't beat last season, I'm pretty sure. I think we got 2 draws against them, both at home and away. So this could be an interesting matchup here, albeit at Mount Smart. You'd like to think this is one we can win. I kind of tell a lie. We did beat them away from home in the 3rd round of the Australian League Cup. But in terms of A-League, a 1-1 and a 2-2 draw. So a team that we did struggle to get past last season, kind of like Western Sydney Wanderers. Hopefully we can do something similar to what we did to those guys at the start of the season. But Melbourne City, they still have some really good players in that squad, the likes of James Caruso and also a good right back in Josip Maritic, as well as these days their hot prospect in Daniel Grant. So some really good youngsters there at Melbourne City. We'll start scouting that guy because I would have thought we should have been doing that anyway. Might be someone that we can get hold of with no youth caps currently for Australia, but they come into this one in some decent form, 3 wins from their last 5 and also 2 draws, including against the Wellington Phoenix, who have just slipped up in their last couple of games prior to that international break that we did just have. But hopefully at Mount Smart we can pick up a win here against City, which is always good. Doesn't matter which city it is, always good to beat them, and we'll come back shortly, thankfully, with no injury concerns, and hopefully pick up 3 points and try and extend our gap on top of the A-League. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode. We are going with our best 11, and these days that does mean that Mikado, he starts over the Wayne Train. Those attributes are just far better. There are Melbourne City also coming into this one, as you saw before, in good form and with some really promising players in that 11, going with a 4-4-2, but at Mount Smart, hopefully 3 more points and extending our gap on top of the league. And around the 15-minute mark, first highlight of this one is a corner in our favour. Looking far post here for Georgios Victoros. It's a brilliant start. He picks up his 3rd goal of the season already. Such a weapon from set pieces with his height and his jumping reach. For some reason, checking this through VAR, thankfully, the goal, it has been awarded. Bernadze has picked up a knock apparently, but from what I can see, is still on a green hat. Someone there might have been kind of in the way of the goalkeeper, but thankfully the goal's been allowed and we take an early 1-0 lead. And quite a long period of play without highlight off the back of that opening goal that we did score, but now we're inside the last 5 minutes of the first half, and Jamie McLaren there was on the attack. Apparently a target or a player who might have actually signed for the Auckland team in real life. That would be very interesting to see the reaction to that, but we're back on the attack there as he did lose out on the ball. Now Bernadze, he makes his way forward and forces a decent save there out of the goalkeeper. In fact, not. He just put that one wide, which is a bit of an average effort. But one more highlight here before half-time, 2 minutes of added time and a pretty quiet first half. Nice header for there, Mikado with a good touch there to find Caputo, who makes his way onto that left wing. Now Beale passes it there to Sukamoto. Ronald forward to Bernadze. It finds its way into the back of the net. We'll wait and see here because it did look like he was a mile offside. So I think this one might get ruled out. Might just be 1-0 going in to half-time. But apparently I'm blind because that goal has been awarded and we make it 2-0 right on the stroke of half-time. Ronald here plays a ball forward and maybe that centre-back there is marking. I presume that is Mikado or maybe someone else who is up there just lurking. Not too sure exactly who, but indeed he's just a step behind the striker there, and that means that Bernadze is actually onside, puts it away and gives us a 2-0 lead at half-time. and that is a good solid first half. Stats-wise, Melbourne City, they've done nothing, so to be fair, they can't argue being behind in this game, but thankfully, with not many chances, we've been quite clinical. And I do feel like we're kind of in control of this game already at halftime with that 2-goal buffer, so what we're going to do here is take off some players on some slightly deep yellow hats. So Cullen Elliott, he can come on for Sam Curtis, of course, is a lot busier than the New Zealand boys on that international break, and also De Hopman de Villiers can come on for Kfunadze, who picked up a knock in that first half, and we'll get the second half underway with a 2-0 lead. And in fact, there's a highlight immediately from the restart here as we make those two changes at halftime. Apparently Melbourne City, they make none, but they are on the ball here from the restart. We'll see if they can launch an attack early in the second half. Sydney FC, they're 4-1 up over Canberra United. They're one of the other teams up near the top of the table. Decent shot there from Bennett, early stages of the half, and Alex Paulson actually forced into a good save there to tip that one out for a corner. So early chance here for Melbourne City to get on the front foot, but thankfully we deal with the danger and keep it 2-0 in our favour. Albeit short of the back of that early chance, the City now it's a goal kick in their favour, albeit good work there from one of our midfielders, might have been Tsukamoto, and we then get the ball out to Ronaldo down the right-hand side. Can we make it 3-0 here early in the second half? He loses the ball there briefly, does Ronaldo, gets it back, floats that far post for Mercado, who heads that one home, but unfortunately there, the assistant referee top of screen did put his flag up, so he might be offside here. My Argentinian striker, who one day hopefully will be an all-whites player, unlike Sam Curtis, did definitely stuff that one up, but unfortunately, indeed, he was offside. Good work from Ronaldo, but a good stride or two offside, so it remains 2-0. And we're just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game. It's been a pretty quiet second half so far, still up by 2 goals to 0. We're going to bring on some players here who might be in need of some game time and also take off the players who are on a bit of a deep yellow hat. So we'll bring on Taylor Tamer in place of Aiki Tsukamoto. He's not on a green rating. Also, Justin Keat can come on for a pretty injury-prone Caputo these days. And the other sub we'll make, we might bring on Nathan Lobo near that game time for Debungo, even though he's been quite good today. That's all our subs used. 2-0 up with 20 minutes left. And it's been a very quiet second half here at Mount Smart Stadium. Looks like this one might finish 2-0 as we make our way into 3 minutes of added time. Albeit as I say that, there is a throw in here just inside of the Melbourne City half in our favour. Taylor Tamer does lose out on the ball there, so it might actually be a chance here for City to grab a goal back and make things interesting late. Nicholas will pump this one deep. Bit of a mix-up there at the back, and it's a poor header and gives Jamie McLaren here a chance to do something down the right wing. Interesting position for him to be in, but Lapane on the ball, floats it over top for Buddha, squares that one for Arion Suleimani, who will put that one away. He's grabbed the ball, so I'm pretty sure this goal will stand, and Melbourne City might actually get a chance here to try and pinch something off us late, which would be very frustrating for a game that's felt like we've been well in control of. Victoros there just came well out of line, and it left a big gap for Suleimani to make the most of, and it was squared to him, and he puts that one past Alex Paulson. Hopefully no more highlights off the back of that now that this game is a little bit close, and thankfully our first half efforts, those goals to Victoros and Kfunadze, do mean that we pick up a 2-1 win. Got a little bit sketchy there with that late goal conceded through Suleimani, but thankfully we pick up a 2-1 win, which based on stats I think is around about fair enough. Slightly outperformed our XG, but Melbourne City deserved 1 goal based on those stats. So we'll take that, a 2-1 win over a team that we did struggle to beat in the league last season. We'll just go forward and see what that does to the table before we play a few more games before taking on the Phoenix in the first New Zealand derby of this 4th season. And currently we're 7 points clear. We'll see if that's still the case once the Phoenix, they play their game in hand in a very strong position for that first New Zealand derby of the season. And we are back before our second game of today's episode, the first New Zealand derby of Season 4, where you will see a bunch of All Whites players, especially from the Wellington Phoenix, in particular the star man wanted by Man City and George McDonald. But 2 games have played in between now and then. First up, 3rd round of the Australian Cup against a bunch of crocodile hunters or something from QUTFC. Still not sure what that means, but we thumped them 7-0. Ben Wayne with a first half hat-trick. Also goals to Piu Piu, Justin Keat and David Basilage, who did come off the Wayne train and picked up a late one. So a very good performance there, 7-0 in the 3rd round of the Australian Cup. And off the back of that, we played in the A-League against Western United at their new stadium, the Wyndham City one. So that's one that we need to do a bus trip to, but got off to a decent start here. Half hour marker corner, which Courtney Perkins did put away then with 20 minutes to go. Thought we might wrap this up with a penalty, which Ronaldo put away, but shortly off the back of that, Western United actually found a way back into this one through a header that was initially saved by Paulson from Ruse, but he did pull away the follow-up. Thankfully, only a few minutes later got another penalty, and Ronaldo tucked that one away to make it 3-1. Rather frustratingly, they came back again here with a goal with around 10 minutes left. Pedersen somehow sneaks that one past Paulson at his near post. Not great goalkeeping there from the All Whites, man. Both goalkeepers in this one did get a 6.4, but thankfully just still enough thanks to those two penalties to Ronaldo to pick up a 3-2 win. So 2 wins from 2 since you were last here. That one a little bit sketchy in terms of defence, but thankfully hold on for another 1-goal win, kind of similar to that first game that we did play in today's episode, but this one had a few more goals, albeit most of them because of the penalty spot and Ronaldo. So it does mean we're on top of the table going into this New Zealand derby, but the teams behind us do continue to slip up just a little bit these days. An 8-point gap over both the Phoenix and Sydney FC, and already 10 points back to the likes of Macarthur FC and the Melbourne Victory. So we can pick up a win over the Phoenix here, and if Sydney FC, they start to drop off, we could already be going a long way to securing a third straight A-League title and a save, and that might mean we can get through the rest of the season a bit quicker than previous ones of this save. Obviously, the World Cup took up a little bit of time at the start of this week, but maybe we could also focus a bit more on some friendlies with the All Whites as well as these A-League games. But this is quite a big early season game to see if that is something that we can do. Hopefully, we can continue a perfect record so far in this save over the Wellington Phoenix, yet to draw or lose to them in the save, but they do have some very promising players. Obviously, Adam White from the All Whites and also George McDonald, as I said, these days wanted by Manchester City. We'll see how long it is until they might come knocking. You'd imagine that is a deal that both clubs might want to get done financially for the Phoenix and also development-wise for George McDonald, and City could potentially use him, albeit it would be interesting to see how he gets on at one of the powerhouse clubs of the world. But no injury concerns off the back of those 2 games since that first one we played today, so that makes things nice and easy, and we'll come back shortly and run through team sheets for a top of the table New Zealand derby from Mount Smart. And here are the team sheets for this New Zealand derby. We're nice and easy, exactly the same as we were for that first game in today's episode. Not going to change a winning recipe, even though it was only narrow. And I think the Phoenix are a bit stronger than City this season. They are going with a 4-4-2. Lots of good young players in that team and a few All Whites as well. This could be an interesting game, but hopefully we can beat them again and maybe extend that gap even more on top of the A-League. And the first highlight of this game does come at the 6-minute mark. Lucas Kelly-Hill's recovered from that injury which kept him out of the most recent international break and does take that free kick. Now Sloan Rodriguez, he gets in behind, squares that one for Suppic. That's a great save there from Alex Paulson, the former Phoenix man. Comes up big there, does go out for a corner, but that is a huge early save from Alex Paulson. Now Adam White, he will take this corner, but early stages of the Phoenix on the front foot, kind of like they were the last time we played them, had to fight back in that one late last season, but early chance there for the Phoenix goes begging, albeit now that's a bad tackle from Sheridan on Fernandez, and this might kind of ruin this big game. He gets a straight red card. Now we should be winning this one 0-0, but with a one-man advantage for 80 minutes. And going forward to about halfway through this first half, and as you expect now, we do have a free kick inside the opposition half with this extra man. Should be on the front foot for the remainder of this game. Now Debungo makes his way inside the box. It rather fortunately falls back to him, as I think the Sheik or Shaik got a touch on that, but he squares it for Caputo, who will put that one away for the Australian international and make it 1-0. And hopefully from here, we can put the foot down. Good chance for us here to grab an early big buffer on top of the A-League, thanks to the idiocy of Sheridan, and we make the most of it early and make it 1-0. Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal. Now, Max Caputo's picked up an orange injury, nothing too serious, but with the situation in this game, I think we'll play things safe. Justin Keat can come on for him with 10 minutes left in the first half. And in fact, very shortly off the back of that substitution, just playing things safe, Keat there does get the ball from Debungo off of a throw. Now, Sukamoto, he picks out Debungo down that left-hand side, looking quite threatening early, and he's causing all sorts of problems. Alex Rufer brings him down inside the box, and that does look like a pretty clear-cut penalty given away there by the Wellington Phoenix captain. I presume he still is there at Sky Stadium. It is awarded, and Ronaldo gets a chance here to continue some good early season form there. He sends Cordova the wrong way, goes bottom right corner, which I'm pretty sure he did with both those penalties against Western United as well. So at the moment, the goalkeepers just need to go the other way, and they should be okay. But Ronaldo there will put that one home, and maybe that will already seal this. 2-0 up against 10 men with a couple of minutes left in the first half. And there might be more misery here for the Wellington Phoenix before half-time. As we look to break here somewhat on the counter as Curtis, he starts to run nicely down that right-hand side. Now Justin Keat makes his way inside the box. Cordova saves that, but kind of unconvincingly. It goes out for a corner, so a chance here for us to potentially find Victor Ross yet again from a set piece. Vernadze actually tries to pick out Courtney Perkins, can't quite find him. We'll see if anything else does happen from this attack. We pick out Curtis, Ronaldo inside the box, back there to Curtis. What can he do? White almost wins the ball back from him. Curtis tries to square that one, but Rufa, he will clear it. Supik will head that clear for a throw. And how that game could have been different if he put away that big early chance. Huge save from Paulson, and off the back of that red card. But now we are back on the attack, albeit the Phoenix, they will clear that one. And McDonald here with a chance, but of course we are tightly marking him. We know how good he is, and that's great from Victor Ross. Now Ronaldo, he is on the ball down this right-hand side, loses out there to Sloan Rodriguez. Now Adam White, bit slow on the ball. Curtis that gets the ball taken off him. Now Ronaldo lets one rip from the edge of the box. That's a screamer into the top left corner. Nothing Cordova can do about that one. Bit messy in terms of the build-up play, but that is his 11th goal of the season already. Ronaldo is proving every bit with the big wage he is on here currently. Hopefully we can get him to renew his contract so he can become an option for the All Whites. But 2 goals in the first half. And as I said, unfortunately that red card might have ruined this big top of the table clash, this New Zealand derby. 3-0 at halftime, and obviously the red card has completely changed things in this game. The Phoenix looking quite threatening in the first highlight, but then the red card, and since then goals to Caputo and a double to Ronaldo. We're playing quite nicely. Don't think any changes are needed, and we'll get the second half underway with that 3-0 lead. And about 10 minutes into the second half, we're going to make our first substitution now because the Bungos picked up a yellow card, so Nathan Lobo can come on for him. And about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game now, so we're going to make our last 3 subs. Of course, forgot before that we did bring on Justin Keat in the first half. We'll take off here some players who are on a bit of a deep yellow heart, so Hotman de Villiers can go at left wing, also Baker for Michael Cornelius Beale. And I think we might need to give Finn Linderson game time at centre-back. He can come on for Courtney Perkins, who's on a bit of a worse rating than Victor Ross. That'll be all our subs used, but so far the second half has been very quiet despite the fact we're playing against 10 men. It's still 3-0. And inside the last couple of minutes of this game now, there's going to be 4 minutes of added time. We did go attacking late in the game just to see if that would get a few more highlights going, but the second half was not up to much at all, and we pick up a 3-0 win in a game, which, to be fair, did get ruined by that early red card to Matt Sheridan. The Phoenix did look quite threatening in the first highlight. Big save from Paulson on that shot from Supik, but off the back of that, the Phoenix never really got on the attack that we saw for the rest of the game, and we pick up 3 goals before halftime. 2 to Ronaldo, stunner from just outside the box, and also Caputo from one that was squared from Ivan de Bungo. He got an assist and, of course, did earn that penalty as well. So those two had very good games, but that was a pretty safe watch off the back of that red card. A 3-0 win to continue our unbeaten record against the Phoenix. And for now, we go 11 points clear on top of the A-League. So 2 good wins during the course of today's episode with AFC Auckland here in the 4th season of the Save the Gap has shrunk back to 8 points on top of the table because Sydney FC with a 2-0 win over the Central Coast Mariners. Patrick Wood actually scoring goals, unlike a couple of weeks ago in real life where he missed an absolute shocker. Albeit I think these days Josh Nisbet might be the player who everyone's taking the mickey out of, but it does mean still 8 points clear on top of the league. But Wellington Phoenix now have dropped down to 4th, already a big old gap on top of the table. If we can beat Sydney FC, we're still yet to play them in the first half of the season. I'm pretty sure we might have the title wrapped up before the halfway point. I know it's a big call there, but we are looking very, very dominant in this 4th season of the Save. So this might be one that we skip for a little bit quicker, albeit could still come back for the likes of a League Cup or Australian Cup final, as well as keep an eye on some of the top teams around us and maybe play some games in and around some friendlies with the All Whites instead of focusing quite so much on this season with AFC Auckland. But that will do it for today. 2 good wins and also no injury concerns, which was quite nice as well. If you enjoyed the episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell, as I will come back at the start of next week, and I think it makes sense to come back for Sydney FC. That will probably be our last episode before we get stuck in to the second half of the season. Indeed it will, because that is our last game before we take on Western Sydney Wanderers for the second time this season. So that one is at the end of November. Unfortunately, I do think our friendlies are a little bit before then against Iraq and the UAE, so might skip over those. We might come back next time for the Victory and Sydney FC. The Victory not doing a bad job. If we win those 2 games, I think then we can definitely start to mix things up for the rest of the season in terms of internationals and A-League games, seeing as it would take a pretty big bottle job for us to not win the title if we can pick up 2 wins in those games come the start of next week. But until then, those games against the Victory and Sydney FC. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.